So thank you all for joining our May Tobacco Free Tuesday webinar. As I mentioned, we are going to be highlighting the Share the Air campaign. Really excited for the panel that you see on your screen right now, because we have several young people that will be talking, and just really thrilled to have you all here. I am Gina Roberts. I'm the acting manager for the Tobacco Use Program, and we have our regional coordinators on the screen as well. Nicole Mann from the Eastern region, Sarah Burkhead from the Central region, and Tiffany Eustace from the Northwest region. So we're excited to be here. We're excited to partner with you. The Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth have been one of our strongest partners. They do amazing work in this state around youth tobacco use and preventing it and really getting the word out. So again, Danny, Rachel, thank you for being here this morning. I'll do more introductions a little bit later as well for the rest of the panel. But I wanted to, we do what's the T, a little question to see what you know in Virginia about this. And Sarah has put the poll up there. So what % of Virginians surveyed agree that parks and playgrounds should be tobacco free and e-cigarette free? So see if you all can pick the correct percentage. The number of Virginians surveyed, the supporters for what we're doing now, what's the percentage? A couple more seconds and Sarah can reveal the answer. Oh, you got it correct. 68% said 85%. Exactly. And then Share the Air did a very similar survey and had 87%. So you can see that the majority of Virginians want this, right? When they go outside, they want to have tobacco-free, vape-free air outside as well. Interesting conversation, because our team, just off the topic, had a conversation about what we were doing over the weekend one Monday, and a couple of us had just spent some time outside. Nicole had spent some time at a music festival in Virginia. I had spent some time at the South Boston Motor Speedway, and both of us had smoke that was outside, right? That just was like in the stands for me. Nicole had it from, I think from the speakers, from the singers on stage. And it was just, we realized sometimes when we're not around it all the time that it's still there and it's still something we have to work on. So again, excited to be here. We have Danny Sagesse from the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth here. He pretty much runs the whole program, right? And does amazing work. So thank you, Danny, for being here. We have Rachel Johnston. She is the Share the Air campaign manager, and she's the one that's really working with getting this campaign out there. We also have Emmy Houck, and she is the Park and Recreation Coordinator for the town of Ashland. And she pretty much, from your bio, I think you do it all. She is a one-person department. Emmy oversees everything from park operations to recreational programming, a community pool, and a robust farmers market. So I feel you out there doing it, and so excited to have you with us. And then we have 3 young people that are really, well, it amazes me at your age. You're just doing amazing work and really making an impact. We have Evan Roney. He's a high school junior at Rockbridge County High School and a 3-time state athlete for cross country and track and field. We have Kylie Bellamy, and she's a sophomore at Grassfield High School in Chesapeake, Virginia. And at the mere age of 11, she owned her own business called Blankets of Love. And I would love to hear more about that, Kylie. She's actively involved in her school, serving as a member of the school planning council and a lead anchor and director of G News. And we also have Quinn Sawyer. She's a sophomore and honor roll student at Grassfield High School. And all of these youth are Y Street's dynamic, part of Y Street's dynamic leadership team members. And they are really advocates for tobacco and vape-free spaces throughout Virginia and have really done amazing work. So I'm going to quit talking because I know you want to hear from them, and I'm going to turn it over to Danny just to say a few words before the panel speaks.
Thanks, Gina. That was really a nice introduction. And you know what, I'm not going to say too many words also, because usually this is the part of the presentation when I talk about the foundation and Y Street, but I know a lot of you are familiar. Plus, I'd rather just get this in the hands of the folks who are actually doing the real work on the ground, and that's the youth here, and in coordination with one of our amazing partners. I do want to take the opportunity to thank you guys for allowing us to be part of Tobacco Free Tuesdays, and thank the Virginia Tobacco Control Program and Virginia Department of Health. I mean, this is actually a true partnership that came to be like 4 years ago, after our partnership in helping pass the tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free schools policy way back when. And this was a natural transition, and it was actually your team and Rita Miller who helped with not only the her partnership with the Virginia Recreation Park Society as a board member there, but also the policy language that the Virginia Tobacco Control Program had put together for this effort. So thank you guys for the hard work. I mean, it is, as you're going to hear here in a minute, it is really paying off. We're seeing some substantial victories across the state, to the point where we're going to need to put together another fancy map with little green spaces, if you recall our map from back in the day. But yeah, so thank everybody on the call for this work. I mean, and thank you for thinking of these youth as what they really are, and it's a true partner in this effort. We're able to achieve more together, and it's happening. So thank you all very much. And with that, Evan, take it away, my friend.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to you all today. We look forward to introducing you to the Share the Air campaign and highlighting the campaign's work and efforts across the Commonwealth to provide Virginians with access to 100% tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free public spaces. My name is Evan Roney. I'm a senior at Rockbridge County High School, and I live in Lexington, Virginia. I've been in Y Street for 2 years, and I've served on the leadership team both years. And this year I've been on the statewide executive board.
Hi, my name is Kylie Bellamy. I am a sophomore at Grassfield High School, and I live in Chesapeake, Virginia. I've been in Y Street for 1 year, and I am a new member of the YSLT, otherwise known as Y Street Leadership Team.
Hi, my name is Quinn Sawyer. I am also a sophomore at Grassfield High School, and I also live in Chesapeake. This is also my first year in Y Street and my first year as a member of the leadership team, and I hope to do a lot more for Y Street in the future.
Hi, my name is Emmy Houck. I am the Parks and Recreation Coordinator for the town of Ashland, Virginia, which is just above Richmond. And we have been partners with Y Street for just over a year now, since we adopted the initiative.
Awesome. So a little bit about Y Street. Y Street is the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth statewide youth-led program that drives campaigns that focus on obesity and tobacco control. Since 2004, Y Street has meaningfully recruited and trained high school students in promoting community health and influencing policy change, forming partnerships with over 90 schools and training more than 10,500 students. Our program has received multiple Youth Advocate of the Year awards, and they have been included in the CDC's Best Practice User Guide for Tobacco Prevention and Control. Our overreaching goal is to create a healthier Virginia by tackling big problems such as tobacco use and obesity prevention through our campaigns. So the Share the Air campaign. Since we were successful in making our schools a tobacco-free environment through our former 24/7 Virginia campaign, Y Street is continuing with promoting policies that limit tobacco and e-cigarette use by supporting 100% tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free outdoor recreational areas and public events with our campaign, Share the Air. The goal of the campaign is to create 100% tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free outdoor public spaces, such as parklands, playgrounds, athletic fields, and trails. So we're going to watch this quick video on the Share the Air campaign.
Rachel, we can't hear the sound with the video. I think,
Unmute your mic, Rachel, so that we can hear the sound.
or you may have to stop sharing and then share again with sound.
All Virginians deserve to
Is that
breathe
better?
clean, healthy air, even in outdoor spaces. Share the Air supports smoke-free, vapor-free, and tobacco-free outdoor spaces because aerosols from e-cigarettes and vapes can trigger asthma attacks, just like secondhand smoke does. And studies show outdoor levels of secondhand smoke can be the same as indoor levels. The places where our families spend time, like parks, beaches, and outdoor events, should be places everyone can enjoy. Visit sharetheairva.com and show your support. All Virginia.
So what is the issue? The issue is tobacco and vape use in outdoor public spaces. According to the 2010 Surgeon General's report, secondhand smoke levels in outdoor public spaces can be as harmful as those found in indoor facilities where smoking is permitted. Furthermore, secondhand smoke and aerosol from e-cigarettes and other vape products can cause serious health issues such as heart attacks in those who are at risk, are common triggers for asthma attacks. Parks and playgrounds are areas that promote healthy fun, and tobacco and e-cigarette use in these public spaces creates litter that is not only unsightly, but poses significant health and environmental hazards. Tobacco products account for almost 40% of all littered items in the nation, making them the most littered item in the United States. Maintenance to clean up litter can be costly. The Virginia Department of Transportation reported spending $3.5 million per year just to pick up roadside litter in the state of Virginia. Additionally, discarded tobacco can often lead to potential disasters like wildfires. Nearly 85% of wildland fires in the United States are caused by humans, with discarded tobacco products being a continuing reason. According to a National Fire Center, at least 3 wildland fires in the last 3 years in Virginia were started by cigarettes. Specifically, in 2020, there were over 53,000 human-caused fires in the United States, with tobacco products being a contributing factor. Also, a 2020 fire in Fairfax County caused by discarded smoking materials caused over $48 million in damages. More on the issue. Other recent events have highlighted the dangers of these products as well. In June, the FDA ordered the removal of all Juul e-cigarette products from sales. The removal of these products stirs up new concerns though, as other products have grown in popularity recently, including the one-use disposable products like Puff Bar. Among current youth e-cigarette users, the most commonly used device type was disposables, according to the 2022 National Youth Tobacco Survey. With the increase in the use of these disposable products, there may be an increase in people disposing of them in parklands and recreational areas. So I personally feel very strongly for the Share the Air campaign because as stated earlier in my introduction, I'm a runner, so I love to frequent our trails. And sometimes I also like to run with my younger sibling as I'm trying to get her into running and to follow in my footsteps. And I really care about lung health. And so worrying about secondhand smoke when I'm out on these trails with my sister is something I'm not interested in, and is why I support the Share the Air campaign.
I support Share the Air because both my mom and my sister have pretty bad asthma. And one of our favorite things to do as a family is go to the beach or go outside to the park, since both my sisters are a little bit younger than I am. And having to constantly worry about who's smoking and who's not paying attention to what could possibly happen to other families, it's really concerning because of how frequent it is. And I just want to be able to go outside with my family without having to worry about that kind of thing.
Similar to both of my YSLT members, I support Share the Air because of my younger cousins. We love going to parks and beaches and all this family stuff, and we love hanging out with each other. But when adults decide to smoke and pass on their secondhand smoke, my little cousin's lungs can't handle that. And the rest of my family happens to have really bad health problems too. So just having to deal with like secondhand smoke, it it really hinders our like family time. So that's why I support Share the Air. As you've seen in the video, creating tobacco and e-cigarette free public spaces will help to improve the health of our families and communities and ensure an even cleaner outdoor experience for Virginians. We are not an anti-smoker campaign. Our goal is to create healthy outdoor spaces that everyone can enjoy, smokers and non-smokers alike. Y Street members across the state work to create these spaces by engaging our communities in conversations about Share the Air to raise awareness and mobilize Virginians to take action. We ask people to take action by completing a survey or a message of support to rally our communities behind our campaign efforts and create a sense of urgency around this issue. We also conduct meetings with municipalities and counties to encourage them to adopt a voluntary tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free outdoor policy. We ask municipalities and counties to adopt a voluntary policy because Virginia faces unique legal restrictions as it is a Dillon rule state. This means that counties, cities, towns in Virginia are not allowed to pass smoke-free laws that are stronger than Virginia state law and enact their own policy. But as a solution, adopting a voluntary policy allows for them to respond to their residents' interest in having tobacco-free outdoor areas without exceeding the scope of their authority. So community engagement is such a major part of our campaign. We participate in a variety of different community events each year throughout the Commonwealth to educate attendees, assess their perceptions of tobacco use and the harms of secondhand smoke and vape aerosol outdoors, and encourage them to support the campaign. These events are fun and exciting ways for not only Y Street members like us to share information on the campaign, but for community members to enjoy as well. We play games and offer fun swag items to help attendees connect with the campaign issue. Excuse me. Share the Air is focused on serving all Virginians in their communities, and engagement opportunities like these are a key component of that. Just this past year, the campaign participated in almost 20 community events across the state. These ranged from pet expos, 5K races, festivals, holiday parades, and many more. If there's an event in your community you think we could participate in, please let us know.
So now we're gonna share some of our experiences with Share the Air's events. My most recent event, as you can see, there's a picture of me with my school mascot in there on that slide. And so we had an event at this thing called a Day in K, where families bring their upcoming kindergartners, and there's like food and everything, and there's a bunch of booths set up to let the parents know what resources are available to them for their families. And so Y Street was able to get in there and collect a bunch of surveys from parents that supported our campaign to create smoke-free, e-cigarette-free outdoor public spaces. And those surveys have been really useful, as I actually have been working in my community to help implement the Share the Air policy.
So, like Evan, I also had a recent Share the Air experience with Quinn, my otherwise team member. It was at Labs for Lymphoma at my school, which is a walk around the building to raise awareness for lymphoma, which is a cancer, which that event was a great time for Share the Air and Y Street to come down and talk about Share the Air and really just explain how smoke and vapor and e-cigarettes, they can really mess up the environment. So it was really fun to play a ton of games and meet a lot of new people to gather support cards and just get extra help and support. From engaging our communities in fun activities at events and having conversations with individuals, we have successfully collected over 11,000 paper and digital surveys from community members. That's a really large amount, and it's so cool. The opinion surveys have helped us to gain insight into how our communities feel about this important issue. So just like the poll we took earlier, this is just a couple of statistics. From our data collection, we've learned that 90% of Virginians surveyed agreed that parks and playgrounds should be tobacco and e-cigarette free. 86% of those also stated that they would support legislation that will give local control back to local governments, allowing them to pass stronger tobacco-free policies. And 91% also believe that cigarette butts and e-cigarette liquids and vape cartridges damage the environment. So we have also collected over 6,000 support cards to date, like another great big number. I'm so happy. These personalized messages are so important as it helps to highlight municipalities and counties that there is community support behind the campaign and allows us the opportunity to learn more about the direct impact tobacco and e-cigarette free outdoor spaces can have for individuals. As you can see, a strong majority of individuals across the Commonwealth support Share the Air and its tobacco-free outdoor policy. So I know there was a question in the chat like 2 seconds ago. We're right there, okay? So we are hoping to see the support for the campaign continue to grow by collecting a few more from all of you here today. If you could please pull out your phones to scan the QR code on the screen or visit www.sharetheairva.com and submit your own message. We would greatly appreciate your support. It will only take 2 to 3 minutes to complete, and we ask that you share your personal experience or reason for supporting tobacco and e-cigarette free outdoor public spaces. We have some examples up here on the screen. And we'll pause here now to give you time to complete your support card.
Rachel, am I good to go for the next slide? Yeah, alrighty. While participating in community events is key and always fun time, probably the most important part of our campaign is meeting with local parks and recreation departments, city and county officials to encourage them to adopt a tobacco and e-cigarette free outdoor policy. We refer to them as key decision makers, as they are the ones with the power and influence to adopt these policies. Each meeting is led by a Y Street member who serves as a representative for the campaign, with the goal of each meeting leading to the adoption of a comprehensive tobacco-free outdoor policy. As you can see, there's there was one with me and Kylie on the screen, and that was super fun. For our campaign, a comprehensive tobacco-free outdoor policy means that municipalities and counties are prohibiting tobacco and electronic smoking devices use all outdoor recreational areas at all times, requiring tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free signs to be posted in visible, prominent locations, notifying staff and volunteers about the tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free policy, encouraging adherence to the policy, and announcing and posting the policy to inform its communities. During our meetings with key decision makers, we asked local parks and recreation departments, city and county officials to commit to adopting a comprehensive policy to establish in their parklands and outdoor recreational areas as a 100% tobacco and vape free. And then Evan, if you would like to share your experience with the KDM meeting, you can go ahead.
Absolutely. So I have just had a KDM meeting recently with the Lexington City Manager, Jim Hallis, and we presented a Share the Air presentation. He loved the campaign. He loved our youth advocacy and the local support. And so now we have the opportunity to present to City Council later this week and hopefully, fingers crossed, get the policy passed to create signage in our local parks. So these KDM meetings are very important. They are arguably the most important step for Share the Air, because we take our ideas and we present them to people who can make a difference, and then we're able to implement them.
So Quinn and I also had a recent key decision makers meeting, but with Isle of Wight County, and it was very informative and it was really fun. It was our first key decision makers meeting. It was really fun. We were just informing them about Share the Air and our smoke-free, vapor-free outdoor spaces policy. And it was just really fun to be really informative. And we're working on another meeting, so we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Kylie said, me and her and I, sorry, we just had a meeting with Isle of Wight, and we're working on a follow-up, and hopefully in the upcoming, I don't know how long this could take, hopefully by the end of the year, we could get another partner, and that would be amazing. From our grassroots efforts and the support of our communities, 14 localities around Virginia have taken steps to create a 100% tobacco-free outdoor area so far, with the list continue to grow. These victories are proof that there is public interest in the issue and that local parks and authorities can adopt a voluntary tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free outdoor policy. Each partner had their own process for adopting a comprehensive and tobacco e-cigarette-free policy, but all demonstrate a focus on ensuring members of the community can have equitable access to enjoy their local parklands and recreational spaces. We are lucky enough today to be joined by one of our partners who's going to share her insight into working with Share the Air and how adopting a comprehensive tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free policy has impacted her department in the town of Ashland, where she serves. So I'm going to pass it over to Ashland Parks and Recreation Department Coordinator, Emmy Houck, and share her insight and thoughts. Emmy?
Thank you so much, Quinn. I'm honored to be here alongside these incredible youth today to talk about how Ashland adopted our Share the Air initiative. So in January of 2022, so just over a year ago, I was approached by the Y Street campaign about the Share the Air initiative. And for me, it was a complete no-brainer to pursue that with our Parks and Recreation Committee and our town council, which is the process that we had to go through. We have 8 parks and trails. We are a very outdoor focused community. We have a very strong sense of well-being and community service. So, this program being very low cost and low barrier was a perfect way to start initiatives in our town that help improve the quality of life for our citizens, not just our residents, but our visitors as well. Really fit the mission of our Parks and Rec department and really focusing on creating a healthy and livable community. So I met with a wonderful Share the Air campaign youth who presented for me. And from there, I took the initiative to our Parks and Recreation Committee. Our committee is a set of volunteer citizens who serve on a panel, and they make recommendations and decisions that then go to town council for approval. They invited the Share the Air campaign to present. So once again, we had a presentation from our wonderful Y Street youth. And unanimously voted to recommend that town council approve the Share the Air campaign initiative. And so I took the initiative to town council and presented at one of their meetings. Once again, another unanimous vote to implement it. So I think that says a lot for the town in general and the community really needing and wanting policies like this in order to create those safe and healthy outdoor spaces. Once we signed the agreement, we received our signs, and I worked with our Public Works Department to go out and put them in prominent places. We did some education via social media, via our website, and then we also informed our community stakeholders like our Ashland Police Department, some of our other groups that spend a lot of time in the parks, Public Works Department, our engineering department, our town staff, about the policy, the voluntary policy, the best ways to approach people if they are, using tobacco or vape products in the parks, what the policy means, and the best way to educate, our townspeople on this new initiative. We had a very seamless implementation. We had all the resources that we need from the Share the Air campaign. Great toolkit. I highly recommend really diving into that and using that toolkit for implementation. The whole process, the communication from the Share the Air campaign was fantastic. I had answered like that. It was just, I've worked with other initiatives before, and I cannot say enough about how wonderful this group has been to work with. For us, this partnership has really impacted the community in a positive way. I'm in the parks frequently, and the verbal acknowledgement of, hey, I saw this sign, you have this initiative, this is great, I feel safer bringing my children here. Or as a dog mom, I know I feel better taking my dogs to the park because they have eaten many a strange thing off the ground before. And so I'm glad the cigarette butts aren't going to be the next thing that they're adjusting. I do believe this improves the quality of life for our citizens and just creates a more pleasant park going experience. It's definitely reduced litter. As I said, our public works team has noticed a drastic decrease in litter. But I think a bigger picture too, it's better for people's perceptions of our parks, especially newcomers or visitors, as we're going to be the northern trailhead of the Fall Line Trail, and we're focusing a lot on tourism and attracting and retaining citizens. This has been a great economic piece because people feel comfortable and excited about coming to the parks and having a good experience. It's also helping us guide future programming and being able to work with more wellness initiatives as we move forward in our programming for our parks. We have been happy to be an early adopter. We were the fourth town, way to go, a fourth group to adopt this. And some of our local partners like Ashland is in the middle of Hanover County. Hanover County just recently adopted. So we're very happy to now have some of our regional partners in creating this more broad, standard for parks in our region. So thank you to the Share the Air campaign. And we so far have had no issues with any community members in this initiative. Everybody has been incredibly supportive. And with that, I will turn it over to Evan to talk about advocacy.
I think it's me next. Sorry about that, Emmy.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. Thank you so much, Emmy, for sharing your insight and your perspective about the campaign and your department's effort. It's so beneficial to hear and something we hope will inspire others in similar roles to do the same. As you heard from Emmy, we work with municipalities and counties throughout their entire policy adoption process. We provide full support during the policy adoption phase and even after the policy has been adopted to assist with implementation and communication. To support municipalities, the county's efforts in implementing the tobacco-free outdoor policy, we offer free resources like signage. Our bright, colorful tobacco-free signs are given to the parks and recreation departments to make implementing the policy as easy as possible and inform the public about the policy. These signs are often very popular and ensure municipalities that counties won't need to spend their own funds on implementing the tobacco-free policy. We also provide a free toolkit that includes our model policy, checklist, implementation, and communication resources that are also available for download on our website, as well as offer positive media and news attention. As part of our media efforts, we want to publicly promote and celebrate municipalities and counties' decisions to go tobacco-free and vapor-free, and make sure they get the recognition they deserve for promoting clean and healthy outdoor environments. For example, Fauquier County, Chesterfield County, and Hanover County were all recognized in different stories from their local media outlets and given a chance to share why they chose to become the campaign's newest partner. We'll share some of their quotes and opinions from the stories regarding their partnership on the next slide. But before we do, we want to share a brief interview ABC 8 held with our fellow Y Street member, Haley Flores, at James River High School in Midlothian. Haley was instrumental in working with Chesterfield County in finalizing their adoption of tobacco and e-cigarette-free policy in their parklands. Let's watch the quick video to hear more about Haley's work in her own words.
Looks like there's no more lighting up at any Chesterfield County parks. The next generation leading the charge and creating a smoke-free community. 8 News reporter Sierra Krug joining us live in Chesterfield tonight with more on this. Sierra.
Well, Eric, I'm here at Powhite Park and there's not a single cigarette or e-cigarette in sight. Earlier today, I met a teenager who helped make this happen, and she hopes to keep that momentum going.
Sharing the air. Haley Flores is just 16 years old, but she's already sparking change in her community by encouraging people to switch the lighters or vape pens off.
They are helping to create tobacco-free areas. They are reducing litter and helping the parks and environments look cleaner.
Through the group Y Street, the James River High School student met with leaders at the county's Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission meeting earlier this month to talk about banning tobacco use in all public parks. It's a cause close to Flores's heart.
Sometimes when me and my sister were younger, we play outside and then we have to go back inside because she smelled smoke and she got triggered. Her asthmatic attacks got really triggered.
Just last week, 8 News spoke with county officials about the recent rise in vape pens being confiscated at high schools. According to the CDC, in 2022, 1 in 10 teens admitted to having used e-cigarettes. Flores has witnessed this rise in teen vaping. It's part of why she's passionate about sharing the air.
They start getting peer pressured or they just see these ads on the paper and they just think, oh, well, if everybody else is doing it, I should too. It's not that harmful to me. And they don't realize that, yes, it is. And it just hurts me to see that they are so addicted.
Flores and her Y Street team say fanning the flames of change starts in public parks. The signs are going up. No one, regardless of age, can use tobacco products on site.
Knowing that I could make a little bit of change is really rewarding.
Thank you. Here are some direct quotes from a few of our partners that have also been covered by local media outlets that highlight their reasoning for partnering with Share the Air. Excuse me. Aaron Reed Miller, the director of Hanover Parks and Recreation, shared that priority number 1 is simply setting the best example for our youth patrons. Kids often imitate what they see, so if they don't see it, it's less likely they'll imitate it. This was recently published by Richmond Times-Dispatch in the article highlighting we saw on the previous slide. Also, Gary Risbecki, the director of Fauquier County Parks and Recreations, was quoted in the Fauquier Times noting his department's involvement, stating, "I get a lot of requests from citizens and organizations on things they would like to see. I see if their needs or ideas fit into our mission, and Share the Air really does. It does because the National Recreation Parks Association is looking at parks and wellness hubs where people go to be healthier, and smoking generally is not looked upon as a wellness option." We hope that these quotes not only help to highlight the non-tangible benefits our partners receive from adopting tobacco-free spaces and partnering with Share the Air, but also kind of highlight the significant impact and value they see in establishing their parklands and outdoor recreational areas as tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free. Emmy?
Yeah, so Ashland recently was recognized by the National Recreation and Parks Association, which is what Gary was referring to in his previous quote. This is our national professional organization, which really helps guide the parks and recreation profession, as well as comes up with best practices, reviews trends in the field, does a lot of really great research. And so we were honored to be mentioned in the Parks and Recreation magazine, the January 2023 edition. And what this did for us as a town is it put Ashland, a town of 7,000 people 7.5 square miles on the map as a leader in health and wellness through Parks and Recreation. And so not only was I very proud as the Parks and Recreation director, but our town in general, our mayor, our town council, our town leadership, we were thrilled to see Ashland highlighted on this national scale. It also really helps us as an organization show that, you know, we are taking measures to create this healthy environment for our town and for our townspeople. So we were really thrilled to be featured and proudly have our magazine displayed in multiple locations in our building. And with that, I'll turn it back to Evan.
Thank you. So macro level advocacy. Y Street members not only work at the local level, but at the state level too, to educate and garner statewide support and allies. Our state level advocacy efforts include participating in conferences, presentations, and webinars like this one, and meeting with our state representatives to talk about Y Street and our campaigns. Last year, Y Street members had the opportunity to engage a statewide audience of Parks and Recreation directors and staff at the Virginia Recreation and Park Society's annual conference. We also had the opportunity to spread our message nationally by participating in Parents Against Vaping e-cigarettes annual Clear the Vapor conference. And just last month, Y Street members were fortunate enough to participate in the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth's Champions for Youth Summit. At VFHY's summit, 2 Y Street members presented alongside tobacco control experts to share the campaign's message and the work they're putting in to achieve the campaign's goals and educate attendees about the harms of tobacco use on Virginia's natural resources. As you can see, Y Street members are working really hard to keep our beautiful parklands and outdoor recreational areas clean and safe and places for everyone to enjoy. If you're interested in partnering with us by adopting a 100% tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free outdoor policy, or know of a locality that may wish to, we would love the opportunity to set up a meeting with you and discuss how Share the Air can support you in your efforts in creating tobacco-free and e-cigarette-free parklands. If you're interested, please contact the Share the Air's campaign manager, Rachel Johnston, at rachel@ystreet.org. She can work with you to discuss the next steps and possible partnership. Last but not least, please stay connected with us on social media. Our social media handles are included along with the URL of our website. Thank you all very much for your time and interest today in learning more about Share the Air and its efforts. We were happy to answer any questions from our attendees.
Hi, thank you to the whole panelist, for sharing all of your stories. I'm just so thankful to have you guys here today. One, to see the impact that youth can have, changing policies, because that's what we really work on. And I think it was Kylie who kind of mentioned the dual enroll and preemption and how, it's kind of hard in Virginia to change those policies, but you guys have shared such great examples of you're doing the work, and you're able to make those changes and making, a difference. So thank you again. And let me start with some of the questions we had from registration. We have 3. So the first one is, do or how do these policies help prevent or stop teenagers from vaping? Rachel, did you want to speak on that?
Sure, I'll go ahead and take this one. So similar to the quote that was already discussed during the presentation by Aaron Reed Miller from Hanover County, I think the campaign really emphasizes how teens will imitate and mimic behavior that they see their peers do. So with the signs going up in parks that ask individuals to not vape, and use tobacco, I think teens will really see when other teens are not smoking and vaping that they will decrease their own vaping or not start vaping when they see the behavior normalized in their areas.
Did you guys want to add anything to Evan, Quinn, or Kylie?
Yeah, I could add something. So some people may argue that because it's a voluntary policy, people don't have to follow it and therefore it's not going to produce results. But I tend to disagree. Just by having that signage up and kind of making it known that it's not really desired in that location, it can definitely influence people to not vape. even if there's no legal action that can be taken, other people in the park may be like, hey, did you see the sign? Like, you shouldn't be vaping here or smoking here. And I think that the voluntary policy is very effective in managing vaping and smoking.
Kylie, do you want to add something?
Hi, yeah, sure. So I was just gonna say too that like Rachel and Evan said, it's really just about like the location and access. I feel like students and like teenagers such as myself, like it's kind of like a leader follower moment. And so even if one person is like, oh no, guys, like the sign says you're not supposed to smoke or vape here, while some children might not listen to that, I feel like most people will start to follow along with like what it's showing, because everybody likes our environment, and I don't think anybody wants to end up getting rid of our beaches just because there's a ton of like e-cigarettes and vapes and all of that just lying around on the floor, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You guys bring up a great point about signage, and even, Evan, how you talked about, there may not be any legal action we can take, but, that voluntary policy is important. What Kylie said, if you see something, if the sign, then you may just think like, oh, guys, we shouldn't be doing this. So it's just important. It just shows the importance of signage. And it's great that you guys provide signage as well to these locations that do implement the policy. It's just, you notice like the impact it has. All right, so question number 2, how do you share cessation resources with Share the Air? And I know in the PowerPoint, I think the slide before this one, you have like the website, you also have your social medias. And so I'm sure that's on there as well. And I think some of my colleagues might have wanted to talk about Quit Now, Virginia, and Live Vape Free. If not, I can. Okay, I cannot see them taking their mic off. It's okay. So
I can,
Sarah?
Nicole, too. Yeah, thank you. So this is where our partnerships really come into play. And so we regional coordinators also work with Parks and Recreation, and we work with local coalitions. And so any of our materials are available for Parks and Recreation as they go tobacco free, or even if they haven't yet. If they would like brochures on Quit Now Virginia, our free cessation quit services, we would love to give those out to them for free, of course. And Live Vape Free, we're also creating some new materials to keep promoting that, but that is our youth vaping education and cessation program that is also free. And just a reminder, Live Vape Free also has a discussion guide for adults who want to help a young person to quit vaping. So any of us would love to make those connections with Parks and Recreations out there.
Thanks for sharing that, Sarah. And I'm sure, I think the toolkit from Share the Air also includes our resources and other ones as well that are geared towards youth. So we're very happy to share that as well. All right. And the third question we have from registration is, how can we get more summer festivals and outdoor concerts to become tobacco and vape free? Oh, Kylie, I see your hand up, so go ahead.
Okay, so I know with Y Street, the whole like organization is very student led. And as we said in one of the earlier slides, if you guys have any ideas of what events you would want us to be at or participate in, we would love to hear from you about it. Just because the more like information we hear about, we want to be there because we want to make a difference and we want to cause change. I know next year, like Quinn and I and the rest of like Y Street members, we're already planning doing like a Share the Air event at the Jubilee next year. Like there are a ton of events that are already in the works and our brains are already running wild because we want to, cause that change and make the process. It's really just about like having the ideas, creating them, and then really talking to like the adults that can allow us to like have a ton of fun.
So Nicole, to circle back on making summer and outdoor festivals vape free, the campaign is actively working with Parks and Recreation departments across the Commonwealth to be aware of their events and working with once we get policy wins, to make sure their signs are up in their parks to ask patrons to refrain from smoking or vaping.
Thank you for sharing that, Rachel. Kylie, the first event that I can think of, at least like, because I'm based in Virginia Beach, is like Neptune Festival, because that's like a really big festival. When you talked about like Jubilee, and I was like, oh gosh, because that's at the ocean front. Our beaches aren't smoke free, and there's so many people that come through just for that. Whether it's the parade, whether it's the different events. I don't know who to speak to, but that's just immediately popped in my head when you said Jubilee.
I know a lot of adults to speak to. I just have to, I will talk with the rest of my Y Street members. That's a wonderful idea. I love going to the Neptune Festival. I go every year. So I would be there anyway. So
Yeah, that would be great. And then another one, we can speak offline, but the Strawberry Festival in Pungo, I think they haven't had it since COVID, but that's just something else that I can think of. But there's so many festivals this summer. So I'm glad that, you're already thinking about Neptune Festival. I'm sure there's other things going on. So that's really great. And let me check the chat real quick to see if any other questions. But if you guys have any other points you want to add before we close up, you can go ahead and share now. Just let me make sure I didn't skip any questions.
I have a question for Emmy. Emmy, we always hear about parks wondering about the enforcement. And have you heard, I know you mentioned a little bit, but have people have been supportive of the policy, but have you heard anything about how that's going or how voluntary enforcement works?
We've never had any enforcement issues. I think we're also very lucky that we have a very conscientious community already. And so, that's kind of the community standard to treat our parks like we have very little issue with litter or anything like that. We have had a few instances, especially with our community pool, that was already smoke-free, but then so people would step outside of the pool into the park to smoke, and we've asked, and now we've taken that away from them. But for them, we've never had anybody, react in a negative way. And it's just a conversation and an explanation behind why we're doing this. Obviously we can't call the police, nor would we, but no issues so far, and just it's more of an education piece if we do come across people who are smoking. But I think I'm the type of person that if I see a sign that tells me not to do something, I'm not going to do it. And I think that that's a lot of the kind of accountability comes from the fact that we do have all the signage in our parks, and you can see it, other park goers can see it, and so there's that standard there.
That's awesome. Thank you. I know even at the health department is a tobacco-free in Richmond City. It's a tobacco-free work site. And, I just often will say, hey, you may not know this, but, this whole campus is a tobacco-free work site to protect everyone. And without fail, people just say, oh, I didn't know. And they're happy to just move off, or I've never had any issues with that as well. So I'm glad to hear it's similar up in your town.
Great, thank you for sharing that. We kind of come to the end. I don't see any more questions coming in the chat or the Q&A. So thank you again for all the panelists, Emmy, Rachel, Evan, Quinn, Kylie, for taking your time. Oh, Danny, of course, for joining as well. So I'm going to switch this over to Gina to kind of close everything off for the day.
Well, excellent presentation. I'm really sitting here listening, just going, wow, the great presentation. I want to say a couple words. I know I only have a couple minutes, so I will be brief. But Emmy, to you, thank you for being that champion, right, in the local communities, in the Park and Rec's office. And when Share the Air, when the Y Street Youth came to you, you said, why not, right? This is an obvious thing to do. So thank you for that. Quinn, Evan, Kylie, your presentation was amazing, and better than that on what you're doing. And I don't mean to say make it wow big, but it is wow big, right? You're changing the world and you're doing it at your community level, right? So when I heard your presentation, your talking points, your enthusiasm, your commitment to this, I just sat back and I said, this is really good. I mean, what you're doing is amazing. So thank you for that. Thank you for your commitment, your enthusiasm to really spread the word out there. Kylie, I loved your survey results. And you're right. That's an amazing amount of people doing the survey. And I hope you all, while we had a few minutes right there, did take the survey. If not, go online and do that. But 90%, right? 90% of all Virginians want this. So it's a no-brainer. I think Emmy said it's like, definitely, of course, it's a no-brainer. Let's do this. And if you're on the call and you've been listening to this, I think we do these webinars so that our partners can look and say, okay, how can we do this, right? What can we do in our local community as we're out there? This is what we can do, right? So if you're in your local community, this is definitely a policy that you can make an impact on. So become a part of Share the Air, contact your Y Street group, and let's start working on this. Your tobacco control program regional coordinators are with this with you as well. So we've got the team here, right? Foundation for Healthy Youth. Danny, thank you for being here. Rachel, thank you too. And I think we can do this. And I think it's 14 already, and the number keeps growing. It was just what 12, I think a month ago or 2 weeks ago. So now 14, and it can start growing. And as Danny knows, with the local school systems that went tobacco free before there was a law, you know, that map just started filling up. So Danny, yes, we need a map out there to really showcase this and show the great work that's going on in Virginia. So kudos to all of you. Thank you for being a part of this, and really enjoyed your presentation. I do want to invite everyone to join us next month, Tuesday, June the 20th. We will be sharing 2 Virginia data updates from Kyle Jerome, who is our tobacco control programs epidemiologist. He will highlight the Virginia Adult Tobacco Survey, and the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth's Director of Programs, Michael Parsons, will highlight the Virginia Youth Survey. So again, another interesting webinar. We hope you join us and enjoy the rest of your May, and we will see you back here in June. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.